All right, everybody. Whoa, gosh.
What was that?
I think the microphone, the headphones are extremely loud today. Hold on here. There we go. All right. That's better. I did not plan for that. All right, we're back, everybody. Okay. Anyway, Fresh Takes Nation, breaking news. We got a lot of stuff going on. Look, I had, of course, initially a thing planned here. We got everything, like posted like that, Super Bowl, Cuse, hoops, NBA trade deadline. But folks, we could not anticipate for what just happened in sport world. Luckily for me, I have a co-host with me again today. Man, myth, legend of the brother himself, Matt Felice. Matt, thanks for coming on. Thanks for helping out.
I'm glad to be back, Paul.
Whoa, jeez.
It's that mic over there. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, you weren't clipping earlier when I tested, so that's interesting. But
we good now?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Well, it's good to be back. I'm feeling into the. I've never sat in this seat before. The main. This is usually next seat over here.
Yeah.
I'm usually in the corner over there, but I'm ready to talk about. Just tell people the news, Paul.
Well, okay, hold on. Here's what we got on deck here for everything, but obviously the last ad there, MOOKIE. Let's jump right into it.
MOOKIE.
It's breaking news.
And not my neighbor's dog, MOOKIE. R.I.P.
Damn, son. Way to kill the vibe. All right. Mookie Betts is now a Dodger. It's official. It's a 3-team deal, but we have chaos raining from the skies. So the main bulk, we'll call it the main bulk of the deal. The Dodgers are getting Mookie Betts. Down here, I need to figure this out there a little bit better. There we go. Mookie Betts, David Price from the Red Sox. Red Sox are getting Alex Verdugo, and I believe, let me make sure I get the name of this right here. They're getting Twins pitching prospect Brustard Graterol in the deal. The Twins are receiving Kente Mahida from the Dodgers, and then in a separate deal, Jock Peterson's going uptown to Anaheim.
Boo. In
exchange for prospect Luis, I will probably pronounce this wrong too, Rengifo.
Rengifo?
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah, I saw it.
Wow, okay. A lot to unpack there a little bit. I need to just figure this out. I wasn't doing this earlier on the sound check. But, okay. Yankee fan, this is tremendous. I love this. This is great because I tweeted about this back in, it was the first week of November, right when the World Series wrapped up, because JD immediately opted into the deal. And I tweeted, I believe, a laughing ha deal. Because really what happened here is the Red Sox opted to pay JD instead of Mookie. Big ol' yikes.
Is what it looks like on paper, yeah. Afterwards.
So this is crazy. Matt, you're a GM, Jerry DiPoto. Yes, yeah. You're a Mariner fan. DiPoto is usually the one making all these deals. It's been quiet. But, you keep your hand more or less on the West Coast stuff better than us.
Yep. You call me the West Coast analyst.
It's just wild across baseball here because very rarely do you see the perennial top 5 MVP guy in any sport get traded like this. He's got a full year of control left. A lot of people were saying, of course, I think this was when it was San Diego being the front runner, that it would be a 1-year rental. I don't think that's the case. I think LA might pony up here and sign him for long term. And I think, personally, but this is because of the way I am, I'd choose LA over Boston any day of the week, if you know what I mean. So.
What do you enjoy? But, wow. I saw that on my phone about whenever it happened, like 20 minutes ago or whatever.
Yeah.
I was just like, well, I kind of knew it was coming because I see the rumors all the time, like. I'm thinking, but there's no way that the Red Sox are really going to trade Mookie Betts. Like, Mookie Betts, you're talking about maybe, top 5 player in the league, at least for offensively,
for sure.
Not counting
pitching. At the very least, a top 5 outfielder.
Yes, exactly. So, to see his name, and then you throw in David Price,
yeah.
You could say what you want about David Price. He's over the hill, whatever he is. He's still solid. He's had injury problems lately, but to see those two names in a trade going to the same team is pretty wild. And you're just so I don't know if you could tell me a little more on this prospect that the Red Sox are getting. I don't really know much about this guy. Verdugo,
yeah, I don't.
His name is?
Well, Verdugo, the outfield prospect, he played some last year at the Dodgers. He is. I mean, on paper, he's going to be good. I mean, this was a guy projected.
Yeah, you'd think so, you know.
This was a guy projected at one time when the Dodgers. I'm going through, by the way, trying to get some updated stuff right here. This was a guy that, on paper, when the Dodgers first kind of got everything going here, you thought to yourself, your outfield of Bellinger, Peterson, and Verdugo were fantastic. Obviously, things don't pan out. I mean, you think about Jack Peterson's really kind of has not panned out to the way everyone thought he has. Bellinger probably, at least to me, definitely probably, I think, a little bit better than what he was projected to be. I think, probably contact-wise, overall bat-wise type deal. So, I mean, it's pretty wild. Seems though nothing really of note the past 10 or so minutes at the very least. Just a lot of funny gifs. But, yeah, at least prospect-wise, Boston ends up pretty good here. I think you could have gotten a little bit more out of the deal, in all honesty. I know for a while, Gavin Lux, who is the Dodgers' top prospect, at least position player-wise, was in the deal, and must be something happened here where either it fell out or whatever.
So he's not in the deal.
Yeah, he is not in the deal.
Honestly, it looks like a salary dump. It really does.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what it is, obviously. I mean...
But, when do you include Mookie Betts in a salary dump?
You don't.
That's just...
That's the thing, you don't.
Mind.
You don't. A guy of his caliber, you don't.
It's just... and I kept checking my phone. I saw the trade, but I'm thinking, Jared Dipoto, is he going to swoop in to be this third team, Paul? But that was not the case, as you pointed, right? It's, who is it, Twins? Twins snuck in. Oh, yeah, with Mahita, that's right.
Yeah.
So I was a little heartbroken.
That Twins rotation now turns into a very scary, very least, front five.
They needed pitching. They got offense.
With Mahita, they signed Chacin yesterday, which now looks to be you could expend him out if you need to. You obviously have Michael Pineda, but you have also Odorizzi, who... I mean, I knew about him obviously because of the Rays, but he is a guy that is frightening. I do not enjoy facing Odorizzi. He doesn't – I mean, last year's a bit different. He finally found a strikeout pitch. This was a guy who literally I don't think I've ever seen a guy force people into so many grounders in my life whenever the Yankees faced him. So here's what we got at the moment, at least in the three-team deal-wise. The Red Sox are receiving – outfielder Alex Verdugo, right-handed prospect Brostard Gratterall. Dodgers are getting outfielder Mookie Betts, pitcher David Price, and cash. And the Twins are getting pitcher Kente Mahita. So that's where we're at right now. Unless you're like me, who follows the Foolish Baseball account, which is a great account. Then you also have the Pirates receiving Chris Archer, and the Rays receiving Austin Meadows, Trevor Glasnow, and Baez.
Wait, a trade that happened a year ago?
But,
nice.
It's interesting of note. Nice. It seems as though not much, I guess, is fully known on Gratterall. A funny tweet that just popped up is hearing from Beltran's niece that the Dodgers are flipping Mookie to the Orioles. But yeah, I mean that it's fairly interesting. I don't think much is known on at least really the two prospects, at least immediately here, because I think much of the talk is going to obviously the main guys here.
There'll probably be some other names.
Yeah, I mean I think that's probably the case. Got any other thoughts? I can look up the prospects quick here and see what we got. If you got any other thoughts.
Nah, I mean, they got past physicals, but usually that's...
Yeah, I know it's the hard thing right now. I guess the Dodgers are really looking at David Price's, obviously. So.
Yes, that will be the interesting one. Mookie Betts, I don't see any problem with that, but...
Okay. So I got Gratterall's Fangraph up. He's 21-year-old right-hand pitcher, 6'1", 265. He was projected to be a reliever for the Twins this year before the trade. He grades out at 70 out of 70 for fastball, slider 60 out of 60, his changeup's a 45 out of 50, command 40 out of 45, and his switcher rally out of 50. Yeah, I'd say this is a guy that's pretty good. Last year, he pitched at rookie ball, AA, and AAA, as well as the major leagues. So this is a guy who's kind of skyrocketed through the ranks fairly quickly, at least in terms of that deal. Let me see if I can get the other guy's Fangraph, Luis Griffo. Computer's taking its sweet time. So he's a 22-year-old switch hitter, right-hand thrower, second base by trade, 5'10", 195. He's got 2 options remaining, very little service time. Was a guy in the Yankees system, or at the Mariners system at one point.
Really?
By the way. Looks like he was kind of involved in the... What was that Rays deal in 2017? Was that the...
Rays deal, what about
the
8th one, the 9th
Yeah, was that the...
The one with the... what years that we
2017. Was that the Mater deal?
2017.
Yeah.
So that's Depoto's been here for probably 4 years now.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the Logan Morrison one. It was after that one. It might be Mater. You might be right on that.
Either way, he has some pretty decent grades as well, though. He was a 7th-rated prospect for the Angels. He did break his hand in September. They landed him on the 60-day DL at the time, so he should be theoretically ready to go here in a couple weeks. 50 out of 55 hitting-wise, 40 out of 45 on game power. His raw power is a perfect 45 out of 45. 55 speed, fielding 45 out of 50. Throw is 50 out of 50. His future L is 45. So both pretty good prospects overall, much like Gesterall. He didn't spend all last year. He was at AAA and Big League last year. But before that, had a pretty meteoric rise. 2018 went from high A ball to AA to AAA. So both guys who have rocketed up pretty good. So prospect-wise, appears to be fairly decent deal for the Dodgers and Red Sox. Any last thoughts here? Obviously, if anything comes in of note, we'll come back to this deal because it's really baseball Twitter is shattering right now, to put it bluntly.
Honestly, it's just we'll see more details, but it's new. It's mind blowing. It's kind of a little shocking. I don't know. It's kind of weird to see a powerful money team like the Red Sox make a move like this. You don't see it very often lately.
No.
Usually it's like the Pirates or somebody dumping all their players, getting everybody clear cap space. You know, it's weird seeing the Red Sox being this team. That's all. That's my last comment on that.
All right. So, yeah, if anything comes back to this, we'll find a spot to break into it. Back to the main stuff, though. After 50 years, the Lombardi Trophy's headed to Kansas City. It was, I'll be honest with you, first half I was not fully impressed. I thought first half was kind of ugly football overall.
Mahomes played. They both played shitty.
Yeah.
Him and Garoppolo were not very good.
Yeah. But second half, money's worth for sure. A lot of different things to dissect with this game. Obviously, start with Patrick Mahomes, who played, in all honesty, about 3.5 quarters of really bad football for his standards that we put upon him. Mm-hmm. Probably his own standards, to be fair.
Yeah.
But, the final 10 minutes of that game, he came into his own and did his thing. Although I think we're on the greens for the most part. Damian Williams probably should have been MVP. But Patrick Mahomes was able to take home that honor.
Yeah, Mahomes, led the way for the most part. At the end. But David Williams was just that force all game that had nice run after nice run. For some reason with this guy, he has a lot of games where you're like, he's overrated, he's nothing. But when it comes to a big game like playoffs or like Sunday Night Football or whatever, he seems to show up in the big moments. He's a very interesting running back in the league, and I think he deserved MVP. Mahomes, I'm all right with it. It's my boy. I'm all right with Mahomes, but I personally think Damian Williams should have been my MVP or the MVP. He was my MVP technically. He won me some cash in that last run there. But that's overall it was a good game. I mean, you were there for the Super Bowl party.
Yep.
Always a good time.
Oh yeah.
Good food. A lot of good festivities during the game.
Chicken dip always on point.
The Twitter was pretty funny during the halftime performance.
Yeah. That was something.
That goat meme is the funniest video I saw on the internet that night. I don't know. But yeah, I thought it was a good game though. It picked up. It was slow at first, and then it got better as it went on.
Yeah, and then speaking of picking up, you gotta wonder, in some ways, what Kyle Shanahan was thinking. Really down the stretch of for both halves. The first half I could understand a little bit why he didn't use timeouts. Mm-hmm. You're getting the ball to start the second half. It's a tied game. At that point, you still had momentum in your favor if you're San Francisco. I thought.
Oh, you had a minute 40 to get a field goal or something.
I think it was the fact that obviously the run game was working very well for him at that point. Mm-hmm. Maybe he saw, and that's the thing. Maybe he saw something, or his coordinator saw something that, let's let them drain out. Another part of this too is Kansas City had all three of their timeouts too at the end of the half, so it was probably a little bit of a Mexican standoff in a way.
Yeah,
what. And that's what I'm saying. I can't blame Shanahan for the first half deal because they were getting the ball to start the second half. So in theory, in a way, you want Kansas City to burn those timeouts. That way you're the one with all three when they have the ball back. If they chose to do that route, if not, then you just go into the second half status quo.
You're looking because like you said, they had it to start off. So then that would mean it'd be like basically just. Instead of getting it with minute 40, you get it at the beginning of the half, which I think is kind of dumb. The part I don't like is that he doesn't call any timeouts. He lets it go down. I don't know how much time was left, like 30 seconds or whatever.
Yeah.
Then they run a few plays, and then all of a sudden, like, all right, let's throw one, and then they complete it for like 27 yards. I'm like, well, now you look stupid. You have like no time left to do anything, and that's where I had a problem with it. But like, also rooting against San Francisco, I'm like, what are you doing, idiot?
Well, much like you with Mahomes, I can't complain what happened at the end of the first half.
Yeah.
So,
and but it reminds me so much of Atlanta at the end of the game when they threw the ball way more instead of running the ball, and Garoppolo, who normally their strength on San Francisco is running the football. They've got two good running backs for sure with Coleman and Moser that are both good. You can say whatever you want with Breida. There's a third. And Garoppolo threw the ball like 70% of the time down the stretch there.
Yeah.
Like, what are you... And they had a lead too, and it's like... This was Kyle Shanahan. He was the offensive coordinator of Atlanta when they were in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
It's just Paul. It's not even a coincidence. It's just like what he thinks is the right thing to do and end up in a big game, and it cost him. It really did.
Yeah.
And I'm not Kyle Shanahan. He's more qualified than I am in knowing how to do things. But from a common fan, I think that was stupid what he did in both Super Bowls. And he's 0-2 in the game, so I don't know if you want to say, but that's a fact right there.
It's true. That's true. Yeah, I think. I can't go without saying though, Andy Reid finally getting a win. He's definitely
Good for him.
He's one of the coaches I've always liked. Even when he was on Philly, I think he got a bad rap there for just stuff that was not his fault. Especially at the end there, the way they treated him, I just didn't like. And I thought it was unfair with the stuff people were saying about him with Kansas City so up to this point. But, again, I mean, I think that solidifies his, for sure, now Hall of Fame head coaching career.
He needed it.
It's going to be interesting because this team, it's an interesting poll I saw on Twitter with the Chiefs and now specifically Patrick Mahomes. What's more likely for him to happen now? 1 Super Bowl and that's it? 1 Super Bowl victory and that's it? Or 4+? And, to me, I think 4+ is more likely because I think this team now becomes, the AFC frontrunner at this point moving forward. Maybe not necessarily next year, depending upon what the deal is, with Brady and, a couple other teams in the AFC. But, I think longevity-wise for the next 4 to 7 years or 5 to 7 years,
barring injuries.
Barring injuries, this Kansas City team is your probably go-to AFC team now. Like you said, I think barring injuries and barring kind of this Mookie bringing up a little bit here, barring a Mookie Betts situation where the Chiefs don't want to pay Mahomes. I mean, this team is...
You got to be out of your mind.
This team is it. Well, football's different than baseball in that regard. I mean, you're going to pay them. Barring something like that, I mean, this I think it's more likely. Now, personally, I think he'll only end up with 2 or 3 because that's just the way football is. But, I mean, out of the 2 options, I think 4+ is the better option than 1.
Yes, he has to. I think he'll win a second one for sure.
Yeah.
But because he's in the AFC is just year after year is just struggles. And the Titans look like they got something, but...
Do they, though?
Do they? Yeah, exactly. And you got the Bills. People are saying they're back. I mean, yeah, they're a good young team, but is Josh Allen the guy? Like, who would you take in the thing? Josh Allen or Mahomes? I'm going Mahomes any question or any conversation.
Same.
But
Same.
The NFC is so loaded though that they can beat him in the Super Bowl. That's where I think he'll get some losses. I think he'll have like a Brady kind of situation where he'll be in it a lot and won't win it. Brady has his losses in the Super Bowl. Like, I don't know if he'll win 6, but I could totally see him having maybe a 4-4 record or something like that in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's tough to get to the Super Bowl. It's not as easy. The Patriots make it look easy, but it's definitely easier in the AFC. But it's still tough. For example, the other side, San Francisco, they're saying after the game, they'll be back.
Well, I mean, you
can't say that.
Well, no, I mean, straight from you're in division with them with Seattle, and I mean to me, I think that division is going to be the funnest division to watch the next couple of years because you got Seattle, who's obviously good. You got San Fran, who, because really that defense, they're going to be good.
Yeah.
And that's not knocking the offense. I still believe in Jimmy G. It's just that they don't really have a number one. They don't have a number 1 receiver. And personally, I think anybody who does the carousel running back game dooms herself in the end.
Yeah.
The Cardinals obviously are on the upswing.
100%.
I don't think people realize what kind of is going on down there. They're going to be sub 500 next year, but I think they will cause more problems.
They were competitive at the end of this year. They were in every game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think realistically for them, 6-10 is probably what they're going to end up at. But
I could see 7-9, Paul. I really could.
Yeah, and then you still have to kind of give a head nod to the Rams.
You can't forget about that.
Because again, that defense is going to keep them in ball games for the most part. And when you have a healthy Todd Gurley, that team is absurd. Now, issue with Gurley is obviously with his arthritis, but again, I don't think Goff ain't Mitchell Trubisky. I'll put it to you that way. He's better than him. In all honesty, he's probably the 4th best in that division now. To me.
I mean, but I'm not a Goff fan, so
I know you're not. But realistically, even looking, I think he's probably the 4th best quarterback in that division. But what's funny about that is he still is probably a top 15-ish quarterback.
Yeah,
he's a fringe down there to me anyway. So, but that division is going to be probably the most fun to watch.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, Seattle was literally an inch away from being 2-0 against San Francisco this year. So, like, they're right there with them. So you can't count them out to win the division next year because of that. And obviously the Rams, they could 100% bounce back next year. Yeah. And then Arizona's sneaky. They won't win it next year, but they're gonna. I wouldn't be shocked at all. They go 3-3 in the division.
I'll be honest with you because we talked about a little bit at the Super Bowl. If we were doing a keeper league again for football, I'd be keeping Kyler on my team.
Yeah,
I'm being honest. He was this number 6 fantasy quarterback this year. Yeah. People don't realize that. Obviously, I think he averaged like 200 yards a game, but he had like 50 yards on the ground. Like on his own, like that in and of itself, obviously, at least for most leagues, it's 5 points. You know, like
plus with the offense he's in with Kingsbury, they let him sling in it. They let him throw it a lot.
And then you look at the Rams. I don't, not to say their path is going to be easy, but at least for I think the next 2 to 3 years, you know, Denver's going to be rebuilding still. I love Drew Lock, I really do, but they just really don't have weapons around him. Now they'll grow with him. Cortland Sutton's going to be a stud.
No, he's a good receiver.
But the running back situation's interesting. I don't know if I want to fully believe in the fool's gold with Lindsey and Freeman at the moment.
Lindsey is, I don't know if he's who was the guy for Cleveland that was awesome one year and then he was on the cover of Madden or something?
Yeah, Peyton Hillis.
Peyton Hillis. I don't want to compare him to Peyton Hillis, but
that's what I'm saying is because he had, by the end of the year, he was getting back to numbers he put up his rookie year.
Yeah.
But again, like I don't know if that's a little bit of fool's gold. Like I don't know what to make of it. I'm imagining the Chargers and Raiders are the way it sounds. They're both going to come out gunning for Brady,
which is ridiculous.
But I think this is not to knock the Raiders here, but the Chargers will be smart about this. Only give them like a 2-year deal. Like, all right, this is our window. Let's go. Whereas the Raiders, I see them giving them like a 4-year deal and just. But I mean, the Raiders and Chargers, they're both going to be fluttering at 8-8. I think next year, barring unless they get like a Tom Brady, which this free agent market's not going to be good. You know. Not to completely go off topic here, but it's the same deal. The Cowboys are in the same scenario as the Redskins are. Dak is going to be the best quarterback in this free agent class only because, obviously, his longevity, but he's bringing more to the table. He's got, at the moment, a better arm than Brady because Brady's old. You know, that type of deal. So, like, the Redskins allowed Kirk to walk. I don't think the Cowboys are going to do that. I think you have to pay Dak. You know, do I think Dak is worth that like $90 million? No, but he's got to be worth it to you because of that scenario. So
because then it's back to the drawing board for the Cowboys.
Yeah,
we do quarterback or what?
Yeah, I mean look at the deal that the Redskins are in because of it. You bring in Alex Smith and he was having a great year, but obviously you can't control health.
Yeah. The fact he wants to come back is scary.
Yeah. But look at the place now the Redskins are placed in because of that. If you're Dallas, you have a window at the moment. Like you have to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
So let's move on. We're getting off topic there, so let's talk NBA trade deadline to go back to trades here. This is going to be a fairly interesting Thursday in NBA because the East is so wide open. The West maybe not as wide open, obviously, but you have bottom teams that are in interesting spots. So let's look at the sellers first, I guess. Mainly, and we'll bring them up last year because I want to get your full-blown talk out of it. You look at Golden State, they're in an interesting spot. Obviously, Clay's going to come back healthy next year. Obviously, Steph will be back healthy next year.
Is he done for the year, Steph?
They're targeting March now, which I understand because they aren't going to play him obviously full whatever.
Yeah.
But it's more or less getting reps in at that point, which I understand.
Yeah. Sure.
The way it sounds, D'Angelo Russell is – I don't know if he's going to get moved. But the way it sounds is if the right deal comes around, he's gone.
I think he's getting traded.
The team on that front end, which is funny, is the Timberwolves, who, in my mind, should at least be selling. and this is going to sound bad, but nothing's really going on up there wise since they've gotten this core. Blow it up. You can get a load for Cat. And despite whatever, you can still get a pretty decent haul for Wiggins. His skill set, somebody will at least risk it.
You could at least
if you're a contender.
Like a 3-team deal.
Yeah,
you know?
Which will be interesting. What's odd is one of the selling teams that I've noticed, which I think it will probably be one of those deals where they'll flip something into buying something, is the Nuggets. The way it sounds, you have like Hernan Gomez, who's getting minutes, but because Michael Porter's back and playing well, and Will Barton's having another great year, his minutes have kind of gone away. I mean, he's still getting about, I think, like in the 10 to 15 range, only because they've been stretching him to a 4.
Yeah.
They could flip him and try and build something off of that. The Nuggets need some guard help.
Well, when's Murray coming back? It's got to be.
It's soon, but I mean, you could always. Their backups beyond Murray aren't.
No,
great,
I noticed their bench
what
is
I
not
mean?
as great as you think it was.
Malik Beasley. I like Malik Beasley for fantasy purposes, but he's not. He can't do stuff Murray does.
No.
But this is an interesting spot. If you're the Nuggets, can you flip Hernan Gomez to get something to, say, get a D'Angelo Russell, or someone like that? It's an interesting spot. Both a spot, though, that we agree on, Matt, Andre Iguodala. Normally I'm a player's guy in terms of let them do what they want. If they want to sit out, sit out. But this whole entire deal with Iguodala is terrible. Because Iguodala, I was thinking about this the other day. Iguodala is one of 2 players in our generation that we forget about in the star category just because, for the most part, they're just quiet or, they're on a team that just doesn't get talked about. Like when he was on the 76ers, this guy was freaking amazing. He won a gold medal on the Olympic team. But, like, him and Joe Johnson for me are, like, side by side. Like, they're – I think if they were, like, slightly, like, more talkative, like, they'd be stars, but it's whatever. But this whole entire deal with Memphis is crazy because now we have the players revolting against him, effectively saying trade him, and we want to see him out on the court, which to me sounds like, hey, let's bust his ass. So I know we've talked about a little bit. What are your main thoughts on the Iguodala front?
I 100% am Team Ja. I think the guy is ridiculous. Like, play with Memphis. Like, Memphis isn't even a bad team. Like, and he's treating them like they're horrible. Like, they're better than I thought they were going to be this year. Well, I knew Ja was going to be good. I didn't think he'd be this good this quick. But, like, I just love seeing them going at each other. Who was it? Dylan Brooks?
Dylan Brooks, Ja Morant. There's another guy too in there.
Just going at this guy. These kids are like 23 years old, and Iguodala's like a 36-year-old man, and they're just screaming at him like, "Dude, get the hell out of town" and stuff like this. I don't think they should trade him. I said screw him. Just let him sit there and do whatever the hell you want, and don't get him what he wants. Because he wants to go to L.A. He wants to get the heck out of here, go somewhere warm with a good team. And I said screw him. He wants to be an asshole to these guys. Let him do it.
Yeah.
But it's funny seeing, because I'm a big Iguodala fan. And, like, I was, and I don't know. Lately he's been bashing my Knicks. I mean, who wouldn't bash the Knicks? But, like,
we'll get to that in a second.
And he just seems like he's a grumpy old man who just wants his way, and he doesn't get it. He's gonna take it out on the younger guys, and that seems like what's going on here. Mm-hmm. And I'm not a fan.
So some of this popped across my line here, which is of interesting note.
Breaking news?
No, not breaking news. It technically came across earlier today, but it's coming across the ticker for me kind of off the bat. The Clippers are in search of a center. They are weary of facing a Denver or a Jazz because obviously Gobert and Jokic are really 2 of the biggest. So it sounds like the Clippers have inquired about Tristan Thompson and Dwayne Dedmon.
Really?
Yes.
Tristan Thompson.
who is, by the way, he's having a reclamation style year. I have him on my fantasy team. He averages like, at least fantasy point wise, at least 20 a night. Yeah, he's having a really good year. Your Knicks, though, made big news today, firing Steve Mills. Sounds like Urgy from the Raptors is Dolan's prime target, although I don't think he'll come.
Well, they're going to have to pay to
I
get
know.
him.
Well,
And-
based on some prior comments made. But it's interesting because, I think we'll see I don't think we'll see a complete sell job on the Knicks. I think you'll see moves be made. But I don't know if you'll see a Frank Nikita get moved.
I don't know.
I'm talking about the younger guy. Like Nikita's had a really good year. Just because they're the Knicks, he's gotten swept under the rug nationally talk wise. This is a guy who, in a way, he kind of missed it by 1 year being a rookie. Because I think if that was the case, I think this year he'd be smack dab in the talk of Rookie of the Year.
He's having a good year. Could score a little more, but he's defensively.
Well, yeah, but I mean, his defensive. I mean, you bring it up. Defensively speaking, he's been great. He's doing the things a traditional point guard really does well. Defend well, pass as well. He has a really great IQ that's developed along very nicely.
He's got to work on the jump shot.
Being honest, if I'm a Knick fan, I think Bobby Portis is gone. Somebody's gonna pay for him.
Well, I'll tell you right now, Trier's gone.
Yeah.
Just because they want to do him a favor because he's not playing at all. Which why I don't understand. But so he's gone. Dennis Smith, who is supposed to be the big prize they got in the Porzingis deal, besides the picks, sadly is going to get traded for like a second-round pick, something not even like it's depressing. But I think he's gone. If the D'Angelo Russell trade is true and that actually happens, I think you're going to see something like Portis move. But maybe a Knox.
You're not going to like what I think they should do, but
the big one's Marcus Morris.
Yeah.
And what are they going to do with Marcus Morris?
Yeah.
Me personally, I like Marcus Morris. I think he's a good piece to the team.
Sure it's not Markieff?
Nope. It might be. It could be. They could have switched positions. You never know. But I think so. Based on Steve Mills getting fired, I think based on what I've read and heard is that he wanted to keep Morris. And Perry and Dolan said, "Hell no, we can get stuff for him right now. Let's trade him." And Mills is like, "Oh, it's almost like Mills came in with a bunch of trade ideas, and they're just like, because what the hell? He's getting fired 2 days before the deadline. Like, hey guys, I got this idea and this idea. Steve, just go home. We don't want you anymore."
Yeah.
Basically, Steve Mills should have been fired 5 years ago. You know what his winning percentage? I don't know if I'm 100% accurate on this. It's like 32%. He's won since he's there.
The Bruce Allen treatment.
Since he's been there, he has done nothing benefiting this organization, and yet he never got fired. Today, Knicks fans, we should celebrate. Something good finally happened to our organization. How sad it is, because Steve Mills is a very nice guy.
Yeah.
You hate to see stuff happen to people like that, but Knicks Twitter was losing it today. They were sending memes, dancing. Everyone was going nuts. But,
I didn't think. I know Nick obviously doesn't. I don't think he thinks that you should move him, but I think you can get a nice haul from Morris. Yeah. At this point he's having a career. He's got one more year on his deal.
No,
but,
he doesn't. 1 year.
I thought it was a 2 year.
Nope.
So obviously, but it's not like he's having a great year. He can plug in, I think, a bunch of different places. He's kind of switched the past couple of years. He's switched the narrative on him for the most part. Somebody will pony up for him. I think you can get a nice slew. Well, whether it's just draft picks or a draft pick and a player, something like that. I think you can get a nice package for him.
Teams that really want him are the Lakers and the Clippers, and the Clippers can't really give much for him. The Lakers can give Kuzma. They can give a pick. They have more, based on what I've looked at and just looking at their rosters, and they've got more to give than the Clippers, which is why I think if he is going to get traded, it would be the Lakers over the Clippers. But then you've got the whole Knicks trading with the Lakers deal, and I don't know. We'll see, but
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting.
maybe they've got a Aroldis Chapman thing going on where because he really likes playing in New York.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to get traded. He wants to help them rebuild here and get better. So maybe they've got something in the mix where they're like, hey, Marcus, we're going to trade you, get a bunch of stuff here. You go try to win a championship, do whatever you got to do, and you come back this offseason. They're going to have money. They're not getting anybody free agency right now. They got to prove it. So just pay them this offseason if you want them for like a 2 or 3 year deal or something like that. I think that maybe that's what's happening. I don't know, but he doesn't want to get traded. So there's got to be something maybe more to it. So we'll see.
Yeah, so let's shift gears. We'll get a quick plug in here. Finger Lakes 1 Sports is heading to Waterloo on Friday night. Some Finger Lakes 1 high school basketball hoops. Finger Lakes East action. Wayne against Waterloo. Myself and Nick Felice on the call there. Live radio Friday night, 7:25. Sure, check that out. Then there will be a video replay. I think it's 9 or 10 a.m. Saturday morning. I'm leaning towards 9 a.m. though. I think that's what it is.
Wait, video replay. Explain that.
Yeah, so we'll have I believe Jeremy Hunt's coming up with us. He'll man the camera for that. And then on Saturday morning, just kind of like running back in a way. I mean,
so you guys are doing radio?
I, for one, don't know how that technology works.
So you guys are doing radio during the game, but they're videotaping as well, and that is being shown Saturday? Okay, I got you.
Yeah, you're on the right path. You're on that. Yeah, so it's we're entering the official stretch run to sectionals here. It's going to be interesting. Wayne's got a couple games in hand still over the rest of the league anyway in the East. So they'll have a nice little test, I think, Friday night against Waterloo. If Waterloo comes out of the gate shooting pretty good, this should be a fun game to watch. So tune in, 7:25 on for radio Friday night, fingerlakes1.com. Follow the clicks from there, and if you so choose to, on Saturday morning, live video replay, and then that'll obviously be up on YouTube after the fact. Say a quick hello to Just Bren 0701G. Hello. Thanks for tuning in. Nick Felice, thanks for watching as well. Fun here one. Don't understand what your comment really means, but thanks for tuning in.
Well, it's your number one fan.
I mean, I don't know. I personally feel like we gave you news tonight with MOOKIE bets.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah. For those people out there that don't have smartphones. That are watching somehow on a mobile device.
Our bad for being out here doing our thing. Can't appease everybody. All right, let's move in the final topic. For sure, get a few minutes out of this, but usually I don't get a Syracuse fan in here. But the Syracuse basketball team, they're hitting their stride. You know, obviously a stumble last week with both Clemson and Duke, but in my mind mainly Duke, because that game really we could have had, I think, more. But this team, and this is something that me and you talked about. This was a team I said if they're going to improve throughout the year and they're going to get better.
Yes, they are. They're showing it.
Mind you, I'm still one of the guys I think Jimmy Boeheim's time's kind of come and gone coaching-wise. But
I agree to disagree.
No. But you have to give him credit for getting this team where they are. Nonetheless, still. It's been fun. Dolajai has been the MVP of this team.
Not even a question.
At the same token, Elijah Hughes makes a really good argument for being a co-MVP.
Yeah.
But Buddy shot well. Joe Girardo's shown some really great signs so far. And then there's personally my favorite guy coming off the bench who I think should start at this point, in Quincy Guerrier.
He's awesome. I love Quincy.
He's been great. This team has been, like I said, it's a fun team to watch right now. It's still because I think expectations are so low, relatively still, even though for the most part everybody... Ooh, we have some breaking NBA news.
Oh, Jesus.
Apparently, this is per Shams, the Warriors are moving on from trade talks with the Wolves regarding D'Angelo Russell.
Oh, my God, here come the Knicks. No. Why can't they just draft a point guard, Paul?
But either way... But yeah, I mean, this team's been fun to watch at the very least. You know, they're a fun group of young guys to watch. it's funny. I ended up going to that Pitt game. You were at the Pitt game as well. And it's funny because I felt like if that game was 2 weeks before, I might have turned down the tickets. I really would have. But
you want to turn down my tickets, though.
No, well, your tickets are a different story. Your tickets are outright a different story. But this team, man, I tell you what, they suck you back in. Syracuse has some magical way of doing things like that.
The cardiac cues for a reason, Paul.
Yeah.
So, yes, they've lost 2 in a row. But honestly, they've not played bad in those 2 games. If Dolezaj doesn't foul out, they probably beat Clemson. Let's be real here. Duke is Duke. Like, the fact that Syracuse competes with them just shows how good of a coach Boeheim is and how, like, how much toughness they have. Because Duke is like 5 stars and 4 stars, and a lot of them, like, they have a player who no one even talks about. I don't know what his number is there, the one guy for him, but he's like the 38th best freshman coming in this year, and he's nothing. If he was on Syracuse, he would be like, we'd all be talking about him. He'd be our number 1 option, all this stuff, but he's not. We are stuck with like the 3 stars. And the fact that Boeheim still gets his team to the tournament and that they make Final Four runs just shows how good of a coach he is. Like, they can't. Duke is good. Duke is gonna. You have to play well to beat Duke, as Boeheim said after the game. They didn't shoot very well. They didn't. They missed a lot of threes that they should have made, and they it just came down to that. And it's not like they played bad. If you're a Syracuse fan, you have to love the backcourt for the future with Girard and Buddy. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's so exciting. They're both. I can't even imagine how good they're going to be when Buddy's a senior and Girard's a junior. I think they're going to be good next year. This is just the first. This is literally like the first level of rebuilding to them being maybe a Final Four contender again. Next year is one of those years like this year. If they make the tournament, it's a bonus. It's awesome. What a run! Bam should be up for Coach of the Year kind of deal. If they make it, next year's goal should be to make the tournament, maybe make a Sweet 16 run, just enjoy, and then the year after that, maybe get that big player to come in as a freshman and then run with it that year,
Yeah.
They got a good future, Syracuse. I like Quincy a lot. I really do. Mm-hmm. Sidibe is your favorite, I know.
No. God.
And
Chukwu 2.0.
And we have Dolezaj for another year still. Like,
yeah.
That's exciting. And I just like that they're because early on in the year was like the first time in a long time as a Syracuse fan I was like, I can't even watch them play. They're this bad.
Yeah, you know what I mean though by what I was saying about that.
Never like that
game.
with my team. Well, let's see something with the Mariners when they're bad for a while.
The Knicks.
but like usually Syracuse, I'm in it the whole season, even when they're like struggling in the ACC or whatever.
Yeah.
But this year I was like, I don't even know what to think. This is ridiculous. But now they're finally turning an edge. And we'll see. Joe Lenardi had him like second 4 out or whatever. We'll see how it happens,
Got a question for you because this popped up on Twitter, and I agree with it thinking back on it, specifically with instances from the Notre Dame game and the home Notre Dame game, the Clemson game, and the Duke game. Mm-hmm. Girard's got a little bit of Diefendorf in him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like not like playing style, but like attitude. Like he's got some Diefendorf in him.
Girard is going to get in. He's a pest. He's going to get in there, and he's going to mess with you. He's going to get in your head, and I love it. I mean, they need a guy like that. You definitely do. Dolezaj is kind of usually the typical of that kind of player, but he's a nice. He doesn't really talk smack. Dolezaj just does his thing.
Yeah.
But like Girard, someone's got to fill that void. Get in, for example. Gibbs' head on Notre Dame. Get in his head. Make him hate you so much. Distracts. Put all the pressure and the stress on yourself over the rest of the team, and that is what you need. One of those guys. He kind of reminds me a lot of Patrick Beverley with the Clippers.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's going to be a better shooter than Pat Beverley ever would be, but he's all right. Girard and Buddy are literally going to be competing for the scoring title in Syracuse. I have that hunch when it all comes down to it. If they stay 4 years.
Yeah.
Buddy is.
I think they both stay 4.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. But Buddy's now showing signs of some NBA in him.
Buddy's 6'6", and he can shoot.
Yeah. This seems fun, and like I said, they got the young guys on the bench. Goodine's got some time recently. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Gary has been playing a huge ton. Edwards has gotten in some games now because of the foul trouble. but he's shown some promise when he's been out there. You know,
He just got put on some weight.
Yeah.
Get some muscle.
Howard Washington's played some big minutes recently as well. But this is a fun team to watch. I'm excited for the final few games here. What's nice is they got the week off here.
They need
overall speaking.
Doja and
Doja had a
Cuse,
black eye already post game in that interview.
Hughes have been beat the hell up every game. They need some rest. They need a week off. They're getting it, so we'll see.
Yeah.
You know.
Big fun stuff for the Cuse. I'm happy to finally talk about it.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Even if they don't go anywhere, I like the improvement they made in next year. I'm excited for next year. You know, we'll see what happens. We'll watch it play out.
Yeah. All right, so that wraps it up here for the podcast this week. Thanks everybody for tuning in. If you haven't already, like, share, subscribe on the YouTube channel for Finger Lakes One here. Then we get not just our stuff, but the basketball games, the Upstate Hoops podcast. Keep you up to date there. Finger Lakes Weekly, all the fun stuff on that realm. Matt, thanks for coming in. I really appreciate it.
Always
get you back in here soon again, hopefully.
It was fun. It was fun.
Do you have anybody that you're shouting out?
I'll take over it. Just because I know I was just in a group message with some Red Sox fans.
Oh, no. I know who you're shouting out.
I'm going to shout out my buddy from college, Rob Armstrong.
Oh, pour one out for poor Rob.
What are you doing, Mookie Betts? What's wrong with your team?
This poor kid. I can only imagine.
Became a big Paul fan this weekend. Or last weekend.
Yeah, it's true. You all did.
Yeah, Paul.
But, yeah, so we'll get out of here. Oh, there we go. Finally got that up right. All right, we'll catch you guys here next week for a Fresh Takes podcast with Russo and hopefully one Felice at least.